help enlighten us on the topic of confidence, I have two lovely ladies in the studio with me. To my left, I have Kathy Onuodokit, who is the founding president of Family Renaissance International. You probably remember her from Women in the Gap. She's been here before. And I have Yawa Hansen Kwao, who is from Leading Ladies Network. You're both welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It really is a pleasure to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, self-confidence, self-esteem. Somebody would think they're the same things. Yawa, are they?
They are very similar, and often they're used interchangeably, but they differ slightly. Let me explain. Self-esteem has to do with the overall perception that a person has of themselves. And that can be positive, it can be negative, or it can be in between. So someone with low self-esteem, for instance, is someone who generally does not think very highly of themselves. And often that manifests in different behaviors. So for instance, someone with low self-esteem may not keep him or herself well, may not think it's important because they don't feel like they're worth anything. Whereas someone with high self-esteem, wants to keep their surroundings looking good, wants to keep themselves looking good, because generally they esteem themselves. And how self-esteem differs from confidence is that confidence is usually a form of belief in self that's directly related to accomplishment. So often you may feel confident today because you know you're well dressed. And because you've got one or two comments from people telling you, wow, your hair looks good, your dress looks good. And so it gives you confidence because it's related to that situation or an accomplishment.
But you could still be suffering from low self-esteem.
But you could still be suffering from low self-esteem. And that's why a lot of people fail to reconcile. So for instance, celebrities, they're in the public light all the time. They're on TV all the time. They've learned how to act in front of a camera. They've learned how to sing and hold a mic and say yo, 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 and what. So they appear that they're confident, but a lot of them have, feelings
serious
of paranoia. And that's why a lot of them, commit suicide or are on drugs or find other outlets that are harmful. And that's not behavior that someone who has high self-esteem does. And so it's possible to have high self-esteem but low confidence. And also confidence can sometimes, the portrayal of confidence can be influenced by our personality types. So there's some who are more extroverted and some who are more introverted. And the challenge is this world is trying to make all of us extroverts. Not everyone is naturally an extrovert. And so, it is problematic in many ways when you're forcing a certain way of behaving on people who are more, their personality type is more inward. So generally that's what I would say about the difference between self-esteem and confidence.
But Kathy, the video told us a little bit why it is that African women, or Ghanaian women, we're talking about Ghanaian women here, seem to be less confident than men. Now, can you expand a little bit on that in the sense that, why is it that we're so, we're equal, aren't we, men and women? So
we're
why supposed to be equal? So why is it that woman feels that she's, why is that culture-wise women seem to be less confident than men?
I think you've answered by just even bringing in the culture aspect. Culturally in Africa, let's zero down to Ghana where we live in now, the girl child is meant to believe she's not really good enough. She's only good in the kitchen. And she should not be hurt so much. Things are beginning to change.
I was going to say.
Things are beginning to change. It's actually changing in so many circles. But that is for those who are exposed. For the illiterate, the mindset is almost the same.
And unfortunately, we're in the third world.
That's
so
it.
They outnumber the
So when you watch the clips that you just played, what I saw, the majority of the pictures I saw were not really enlightened women.
The working class.
And so you could see them cowed down because of the culture. You are taught to believe. The culture believes that you are not good enough, your family doesn't really speak well of you, your parents don't really encourage you, and you are being talked down. If you try to be assertive, they kind of believe that, you're a woman, you shouldn't be, because somebody may misconstrue that and then abuse you and all that. So quite a lot of factors actually play down the aspect of the African woman really being aggressive and assertive and standing for themselves. culturally, traditionally. I think that is the major problem. And people have not really evolved. Most Africans haven't really evolved to the place
they
of...
claim they have, but not quite.
Yeah, I think we should do a research on that. It's still very lopsided. Quite a lot have not resolved, because most of the African women themselves, the older generation, who are not exposed, may want to raise their girl children, their daughters, the same way they were raised up. But times have changed. As much as we know that there are certain things that they have taken overboard, there should be a balance. Okay, so in the African setting, I think culture is something we should really look into in trying to create awareness and the importance of a girl child in order for self-esteem and self-confidence to really be worked on, beefed on, and then enhanced. Because we are in a global world.
Yes.
Yeah. If something is not done, if our culture is not looked into, and then the girl child is not brought up to believing that they have something to offer, that they are equally human beings, they deserve to be respected, they deserve to be loved. And that has to do with a lot of talking, convincing the girl child, because when you come into a setting, okay, other influences can play on you. So you've got to, the home front should be there to really get the girl child to a place of believing that they are equally up to the task.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you did explain the difference between self-esteem and confidence, but who would you describe as a confident person, a confident woman?
A lot of times in the professional sphere, confidence in a professional woman may look like being willing and able to communicate her ideas in a way that is clear and without shaking or becoming overly emotional. Another expression of confidence in the professional sphere may be willing to raise your hand. For instance, I've been in so many sessions with young women in our network who say, I hate it when we're in a staff meeting and they call on me to give the vote of thanks or call on me to do something public.
Because they're shy?
They say they're shy, but a confident person
is not shy.
Not necessarily. There are different degrees of shyness that affect everyone. Even the most confident person will tell you there's still a little bit of...
I'm shy.
When I
tell people I'm shy, they can't believe it. Though,
because a lot of times, you're hosting the show. I don't believe this story that you're selling me about being shy. You get it. And that you are what you are because you have to be for this show. So in this context, you're displaying confidence. And so you're composed, you're speaking clearly, you're asking questions openly and authoritatively, you're giving good eye contact to all of us. And these are the ways, the clues that tell onlookers that a person is confident. And that's why I believe that confidence is something that everyone can learn. And for us at Leading Ladies, we teach it. Stand up straight. Walk a little faster. Look in people's eyes when you talk. Even though your inside may be going crazy and feeling like, oh my God.
But once you're able to conquer that fear.
Exactly. And the trick is, the more of these little victories that you have, they add up to building a greater sense of esteem that makes confidence easier the next time around. So it's a funny little cycle that happens. That once you face a situation, you find success in having tackled that situation. It builds for you an extra layer of comfort in that situation, so that the next time around it's easier. So for someone who says, wow, you're an excellent speaker and whatnot, I'm excellent because I practice it. And the more I practice it, the easier it gets. And the easier it gets, the more second nature it becomes. And so it's not necessarily that I'm so confident, but I fill the skills gap. So if we debunk or demystify some of all of this that surrounds the confidence and self-esteem issue, it's skills. It's teaching our young girls how to speak. When you're in public, what is a good speech? What does it look like? How do you speak in a way that commands attention? How do you assert yourself? So assertiveness is one area of confidence that we're very passionate about. How do you be firm but direct? How do you tell someone in no uncertain terms that you mean a thing but still have a cordiality around you? So a lot of this can be solved through skills, through training.
I can see Kathy is really shaking her head because you have something to say.
I'm in agreement, but there's another dimension to it. I believe for every woman, you should know where you are best at.
What you're best at?
What you are best at where you are best at. Because if I put a round peg in a square hole, it won't fit.
All right.
It's not everybody that was created to be a good speaker. So in developing self-confidence, find your niche. Work at your niche. If you are a good cook, be excellent at it. Allow God give you a platform where you could see people of like mind and like profession display the best of you. Because I think that what really kills self-confidence is trying to make me look like her when I haven't discovered my talent. So for every person, interestingly, God never creates and will never create any junk. You are good at something.
Everybody has a talent.
Everybody has a talent. Building self-confidence is at its best when you discover your talent. Work at it. You may not be excellent. You may not be 100% good at it when you start, like Yawa said. But the truth of it is that if you begin to celebrate the little successes, before you could say Jack, you'll be so excellent and so celebrated in that. But it doesn't start all at once. So discover what you're good at. I don't know, giftings and talents differ, but just fit in where you know you belong.
What do we as parents, what should we as parents do in our homes to ensure that, because it all starts from home, to ensure that we are raising confident young ladies?
Parenting.
Tell us about
godly parenting.
Tell us about
It's not everybody who is a Christian, but at least everybody has the best interests of their children at heart.
Of course.
Every child is different. Every child is unique. The first advice I'll give to any parent listening to us right now is discover the talent, the giftings in your child. Don't push your child into doing that which you couldn't do as a young person.
Which now we end up, well, a lot of us do actually.
Yes, you are now trying to use somebody else to fulfill your dreams. We are all created differently. See the good in every child. Speak positively into every child. It is so important. Good parenting can never be overemphasized. Let's assume you have two children. One may be artistic. The other person may be career-oriented. Somebody who loves reading. I hear parents most times when I interact, this child doesn't like to read. This child doesn't like to study. It's so good to study. People study differently. There are some who are bookworm. They read 24/7. You don't need to push. You don't need to couch. You don't need to do anything. They are just bookworm. Celebrate that child. But don't do comparative analysis
with another child,
who doesn't want to go the same way. There's another person who picks a book for just about 30-40 minutes.
And that's in their brain.
Good for the day. Interestingly, they are even just doing that path just to have a certificate to back up their passion. Okay, so you've got to be able to see what is in every child and try to use godly wisdom to bring out the best in them so that they can be comfortable in who they are. When you were saying that we are still pushing children into career like engineering, medicine, I think times have changed.
Oh, now I think now we're still, but they're still parents. I mean, I'm a parent.
Yeah.
By all means. The way I've told my kid, I've said to my kids is that you need to get a tertiary education. Then you can do what you want to do.
Whatever you want to do.
Because that's important. So with saying that, I think we're still quite silently pushing them into doing something because, you know, you don't necessarily need to go to university to become a good cook. You can go to the best cordon bleu school and still become a good cook or a good chef. You understand what I mean? You can go to a fashion school without having to have a degree in fashion. You could go to a good fashion school and get a certificate. So that's why I'm saying to you that I'm guilty. I can tell you that.
But you see,
I'm guilty that I want that university education.
It boils down to what Yawa said. It boils down to it. You are not going to that university to use the certificate afterwards. Most times, they are not supposed to go there.
As a fallback.
But you see, you need that degree to be able to penetrate certain circles, because human beings don't all reason alike. Some may say that you were not good enough, and for your self-esteem tomorrow, you need to also prove a point that you also went to school. Because when you...
So that's why. So we're back to where I was. We're still pushing those children.
If I can put this in,
yes.
I think that particularly because of globalization and the ubiquity of information, the accessibility of information is relatively easier. I think when it comes to parenting a child to be confident, it really depends on you treating that child like the adult that they all are. Because really, at 8, 9, 10, once a kid knows how to work your iPad and knows how to Google, they already know quite a bit. And so it's about also asking their opinion on things. saying please
Having
and thank you to the child, helping them recognize that, wow, actually I am important. When people, you know, I remember when we were young, my father, anytime we would get guests, you know, you people go to the room. But when we became teenagers, he would introduce us into the conversation. This is my daughter, so-and-so, this is my daughter. I mean, we would leave the conversation ourselves because we didn't like what they were talking about. But that did something for us in that it made us feel valued. It made us feel like we were people too, and it gave us a sense of responsibility that, whoa, Daddy sees us as these, you know, his colleagues. So we better act the part. So I think there's something to be said for, you know, at least this generation of kids to treat them like adults. Oh, can you do this, please? Can you? Oh, what do you think about
by
this?
all means, when you ask them to do something, the pleases and thank yous are very important because they're learning and they're picking that from